I had the unfortunate displeasure of experiencing Dragon Ball Daima, so you won't have to. Congrats, your time was saved. Unless you've already watched it and you're watching this video now, in which case, you have my deepest condolences. I would not wish this upon anybody, and I hope that God has mercy upon your tragic soul. Because this is one of the worst things I've ever experienced. This is one of the worst adventure stories ever. And I don't think this should have been a thing. Now look, I get it. This is one of those things that you're either going to really love or you're going to really hate. And unfortunately, I'm part of the latter. I just don't understand how anybody over the age of 6 can say this show is good. Not liking it, because liking is a subjective preference, but to say it's objectively good or have some objective basis to say it is a good product, I just can't understand that. This, again, one of the worst adventure stories I've ever experienced. Uncle Jim's Journey to the Center of Your Mom's Asshole will probably make for a better adventure story than this. I knew. I had a feeling that from the very first trailers, this show was not going to be good. I already didn't like the premise of them turning to kids, and every other trailer after that, it was just filler. And that's what the show turned out to be. It was 90% filler. I think what annoys me the most is that we've been waiting years for anything Dragon Ball related, like a sequel, something, anything, and we're presented with this. And I'm talking about shows, not movies like Superhero or Broly. We've been waiting for something, and I know that the manga content isn't that far ahead, so there's not much to cover. But we're presented with them turning back to kids. It just, who's this for? Like, everybody grew up with Dragon Ball, with these characters, and now you're bringing them back. I don't want to get butt-fucked with nostalgia, bro. Like, this was such a stupid decision. But even with that dogshit premise, it could still have worked. If you had good characters, a good story to tell, this could have been something interesting, something enjoyable to watch. But instead, it's just not. There's little... Okay, this is a sensitive topic. I know it's Toriyama's last work. Fucking tragic voice crack right there. I know it's Toriyama's last work, so I don't want to keep dogpiling on it and disrespecting what he made or had a part in making. So let's talk about the good stuff. Granted, there aren't many. There's not a lot of good things to talk about here. But let's get the obvious out of the way. I think the production quality in this show is great. It's not perfect, it's not mind-blowing, it's not the best thing I've ever seen, but it is good. It makes it bearable to watch, because without it, I don't want to know where we'd be. Especially the last couple episodes. I think they popped the fuck off with the fights and the animation, and the art quality all throughout is always just so consistent. It looks great. And yeah, that's it. That's all the good stuff. That shit had a shorter shelf life than Concord. I'm not even gonna bother to try and address the continuity issues that arose from the creation of this series, because I've seen people go back and forth whether Daima is actually canon to the Super storyline or not. Both of them making valid points, and it's gotten so convoluted. It's like there's just a whole kerfuffle at this point that nobody knows the actual real answer. So, for example, you see Gowasu in one of the episodes, and this is a character that was created only in Super. He hasn't been mentioned, he hasn't been shown, he hasn't, no connection to the previous Dragon Ball arcs or universe. He was shown in Daima. So at the very least, they had Super in mind while creating this series. Now, how well it connects to Super? It fucking doesn't. There's a panel of Goku saying he has no more forms available to him when he's fighting Beerus on King Kai's planet. And wouldn't you know, he has Super Saiyan 4 at that point. I mean, he would have if Daima made any fucking sense, but it doesn't. It's not like this was a form that is only accessible to him within the demon realm like many theorized. That wasn't the case. He's explicitly said that he has awakened this power, or he was training after his fight with Majin Buu. He was training with this power and he was actually aware of it. So that makes no fucking sense. But sure, you could wish-wash that quote away and say that maybe he didn't unlock it at that point and he was still training towards it. Well, ignoring the fact that Super takes place 6 years after Dragon Ball Z, where the fuck is it? Why wasn't it mentioned at all? You think that Goku, the person who's striving to be the very strongest in the universe, wouldn't just give up on his most strongest form that he tapped into in the past? He's not someone that gives up like that. It just makes no fucking sense. And even if you want to ignore Goku completely, Vegeta. We know that he has Super Saiyan 3. He's unlocked it at that point in Daima. It's not even a question whether you can tap into it or not. And in Dragon Ball fucking Battle of the Kami Godsuckers, he doesn't use it at all. Like when Bulma gets slapped in the face by Beerus, and he literally becomes the embodiment of anger, he goes Super Saiyan 2. You're telling me when your wife gets bitch slapped in the face, you don't go to your most powerful transformation? I think it's just clear at this point that they don't care. The continuity makes no sense, and Dragon Ball already is convoluted so much so at this point that who the fuck cares? You know, the continuity isn't even my biggest problem with this series, even if we just pretend it's a different timeline. So let's talk about the actual issues that are prevalent in the show. First of all, the pacing. Holy fuck, dude. This show made me want to rip my eyeballs out at some points. Like, I thought One Piece pacing was bad? You think One Piece pacing? Woohoo! At least Toei has an excuse with that one. For Daima, bro, I swear to God, every other episode, it felt like the fucking ship that takes them from point A to point B, you know, the main vehicle of the series. That shit breaks down like every other episode. Every time we try to make progress, we take 2 steps back. It gets so fucking annoying and repetitive. It just makes the whole thing feel so redundant. Like, why am I watching them do this and then just fucking trip on their dick and then just like fall? I don't even know what to say. Okay, the pacing is just so bad, and that doesn't help when there's actual filler episodes within the show. I kid you not, I don't remember if it was episode 77, 8, whatever. There was an episode where they go and crash land into this land of the giants. What the fuck was the point of that? It added nothing to the story. It did nothing for the world building, because world building is good. World building is only good when it actually has something to do with the plot, when it actually has impact on the story and or expands on previous information. This did none of that. We just learned a little bit more about how the demon realm works. Okay, cool, I guess. Like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do with that information? It didn't tie back to anything. It didn't help with the themes of the story. It didn't make the ending feel more impactful. Like, why did I spend my time in that fuck-ass episode doing jack shit? I'm here to watch Dragon Ball, not fucking Dora the Explorer. Like, it makes no sense. Next, let's talk about the characters. So, first we have the main group, the OGs, and then we have the new characters introduced in Daima from the Demon Realm. So the OGs, everybody likes them, I know. We're already invested into their characters, so their inclusion into anything obviously makes things more fun and interesting. But for the overall impact on the plot, they really didn't do anything. Like, you could remove them from the story and not much would change. Aside from the final fight, of course, but their inclusion isn't even that big of a deal. I enjoy their presence. It's the new characters that have a lot more to live up to, and spoiler alert, didn't fucking deliver. Pansy, her entire existence and role basically boils down to me fix ship. What? Ooh, the crowd goes wild. Like, that's literally it. What does she do? She has no character growth. She has no interesting development, no really cool interactions with anybody. She's just there. So, yay, I guess. And then you have Glorio, probably the most predictable and generic character story arc I've ever come across. Like, the moment he just joined the crew, I knew right away. I knew he was gonna betray the people he was actually working for, because it's the friends we made along the way. It was just, he wasn't even bad. It was just like, really, man? You couldn't come up with anything more creative than that? That was just it for me. Like, I couldn't take it anymore. I will say, though, Arinsu, I enjoyed her presence on screen. Majin Ku, he's someone that grew on me a lot, and probably the only one where I actively enjoyed their presence on screen just because they were funny and quirky. But other than that, let me think about who we got. We got Neva, the walking plot device that just happens to fix any problem we come across. Oh, you got this big magic gate that you can't open? Ah, don't worry, I got it. Boom. Oh, Goku's out. Well, let me just awaken his Super Saiyan 4 power that he's never had until now, because why not? I'm Magic Man. It just made no sense. And then you had, oh my god, you had Degasu, bro. Degasu, he actually had a cool design. I was looking forward to what they cook with his character. Maybe he has some really interesting dynamic with Shin, his brother. But no. He goes out like a fucking Looney Tune character, bro. Oh my god, that was so embarrassingly bad. Holy shit. Oh, you want to know what else is embarrassingly bad? The main villain of the arc. Fucking Goma, bro.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
This guy is like Buggy if he was made by fucking ChatGPT. He is so garbage as a main villain. I don't know what they were thinking. He's not entertaining. He's not fun to watch on screen. He's not even threatening. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. Having Buggy as a main villain for an arc is already bad, but making a villain that's infinitely worse of the same archetype is like taking cocaine with fucking meth. It's such a stupid decision. I don't know. Like, you could have made him have some kind of depth, but no, he's just a fucking Looney Tunes character, I guess, and going out in a Looney Tunes kind of way, getting taken out by the King of Clowns, Majin Buu. Holy shit, he's so garbage. Not to mention his powers don't even make any goddamn sense. Like, sure, he has this fucking eye that he puts on his forehead and he gets a magical boost of power, okay? That part makes sense. But how is he tangoing with Super Saiyan 4 and 3 and 2 Goku? Sure, he has magic powers now and he can fucking lift rocks, make shit happen, okay? Fucking clap his ass cheeks together. But how is he able to fight? This entire time, he's painted as this cowardly character that's always making other people do his bidding. So it's clear at this point that he has no combat experience whatsoever. And he fucking uses magic, so obviously he's not someone that can fucking box, right? But no, apparently as soon as he gets this testicle eye shit, he is able to tango and suddenly be peers with Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, all of which have years of combat experience more than him. Make that make sense. It doesn't, because how it should work is like in an RPG. So for example, let's say there's a noob that's playing Monster Hunter for the very first time. They've never touched any other game. This is their first Monster Hunter game with zero experience. So you got the noob here, okay? You got the pro here now. They give the noob all the best gear, the endgame content stuff where you kill all the endgame bosses, monsters, whatever. He gets all the gear, all the good weapons and shit. And then the pro goes tell him to fight Fatalis. How do you think that's gonna go? Well, I'll show you. Come on, my brothers! My point is, even if you have the best gear, you won't have the skill necessary to utilize it at its full potential. And that should be the case here. Goma has this magical eye that boosts his magical powers, right? But it shouldn't let him have the insight to fight Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and all these guys at the same time when he has zero prior fighting experience. It just doesn't make any sense. I can only suspend my disbelief so much. And I guess this is a good segue to talk about the fights. Spoiler alert again, this is no Bloodborne remake reveal. They were not very good. They were entertaining, don't get me wrong, they were fun to watch, but that doesn't necessarily make them good. I like my fights to have a little meat to them, you know what I'm saying? Like Archer versus Shiro, or Luffy versus Lucci, or fucking even Goku versus Frieza. All of those had a lot more emotional depth, a lot more stakes and tension than anything else in Daima. And I guess that's to be expected given that Daima isn't a series that's supposed to be taken seriously. Is what I'd say if the intentions of the author were at all clear. It just feels like Daima didn't know what it wanted to be, because on one hand, the beginning of the story up until the final fight, it's this happy-go-lucky adventure, how goofy funny time, and then when the end hits, this final fight just devolves into your typical Dragon Ball Z fight. It just is not tonally consistent with the rest of the series. And because it wasn't consistent and there wasn't any real build-up to the final fight to make it feel deep or meaningful, I just felt so lost. Like, what was the point of this whole adventure segment if it's not gonna help make the final fight feel more impactful? Am I supposed to care about the final fight just because there are stakes? Most of which mean nothing, by the way, because this is a prequel, so we know the outcome of what happens to our favorite characters. I just don't get what Toriyama was going for here, man, because if he himself can't care about the consistency of the writing quality, then why should I give a damn? Which makes it clear, I know exactly what he was going for. He was making a show for little kids. That's basically what this boils down to. Daima is carried by the Dragon Ball IP and has little writing of substance. And Super Saiyan 4 is the embodiment of all that. It's just a fan service transformation with a little depth that retcons the continuity of Super. On one hand, I do appreciate that Toriyama made this fan-loved transformation come back for one last time to give us a little bit of a treat before, his passing. However, as someone that values writing quality greatly, that just wasn't worth it for me at all. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about Dragon Ball Daima. Overall, I give it a 4 out of 10. And I'm probably being generous over there. But yeah, it is what it is. And that's about it. Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. I still greatly respect everything that he made with Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, the original one. And yeah, that's about it. Like, subscribe, all the jazz, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.